In late August 2005, a tropical depression formed over the Atlantic, moving steadily toward the southeastern United States. At first, it seemed like just another storm, but within days it had exploded into a monstrous hurricane, fueled by the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. The name of this storm would be etched in history: Hurricane Katrina. By August 28, Katrina had intensified into a Category 5 hurricane, with winds exceeding 280 Cape/H, 175 mph. Satellite images showed a massive storm stretching nearly 400 miles across. The National Hurricane Center issued dire warnings Katrina would be a catastrophic event. Its target? New Orleans, a city built below sea level, surrounded by levees, and dangerously vulnerable to flooding.
On the morning of August 29, 2005, Hurricane Katrina made landfall near Burris, Louisiana, as a Category 3 hurricane with sustained winds of 200 kph, 125 pf. Though slightly weakened, it remained one of the most powerful storms to ever strike the U.S. Gulf Coast. Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana were all in its path, but the worst was yet to come. Massive storm surges, up to 28 feet high, slammed into the Mississippi coastline, obliterating entire towns like Bay St. Louis, Waveland, and Biloxi. Winds ripped apart homes, businesses, and infrastructure, leaving behind scenes of absolute devastation. But the most catastrophic event was unfolding in New Orleans.
The worst fear of engineers and meteorologists came true. The levees protecting New Orleans, already fragile and aging, failed under the massive storm surge. By mid-morning, the Industrial Canal, 17th Street Canal, and London Avenue Canal levees had all collapsed. Water poured into the city, flooding streets, homes, and hospitals within hours. In some areas, the water rose 20 feet, submerging entire neighborhoods. Residents who had not evacuated found themselves trapped. Thousands fled to their rooftops, waving for help. Others made desperate attempts to escape in boats, clinging to whatever they could. The Superdome and New Orleans Convention Center, designated as emergency shelters, were quickly overwhelmed, becoming symbols of chaos and human suffering. By nightfall, 80% of New Orleans was underwater. Electricity was gone. Clean water was scarce. Bodies floated in the streets. A humanitarian crisis was unfolding on an unimaginable scale.
The response to Hurricane Katrina was marked by confusion, delays, and failures at every level. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, was slow to react, unable to deliver aid efficiently. Louisiana and federal officials struggled to coordinate rescue efforts. The National Guard was deployed, but for many stranded residents, help arrived too late. Inside the Superdome, tens of thousands of evacuees endured horrific conditions. No food, no water, no medical assistance. People collapsed from dehydration. The convention center became another nightmare, with reports of violence and desperation spreading through the overcrowded halls. The government's failure to act swiftly became a national disgrace. The images of New Orleans, people stranded on rooftops, families wading through waist-deep floodwaters, desperate cries for help, shocked the world. Questions arose. How could one of America's most famous cities be left to drown?
By the time the waters receded, Hurricane Katrina had left behind an unprecedented disaster. More than 1,800 people lost their lives. The financial cost exceeded $170 billion, making Katrina the costliest natural disaster in U.S. history. Entire neighborhoods like the lower Ninth Ward were wiped off the map. Thousands of homes were condemned, businesses destroyed, and a way of life was forever altered. The storm displaced more than 1 million people, creating one of the largest internal migrations in modern American history. Many never returned to New Orleans, scattering across the U.S. in search of new lives. The city's cultural and economic fabric was forever changed. Katrina also exposed deep racial and economic inequalities. Many of those left behind in the floodwaters were low-income Black residents, unable to evacuate due to lack of transportation or resources. The storm did not just destroy buildings. It laid bare the stark realities of poverty and government neglect in one of America's most vibrant cities.
The long road to recovery began, but it was slow and painful. Billions of dollars were poured into rebuilding efforts, but for many, the damage was irreparable. The Army Corps of Engineers undertook massive projects to strengthen the levee system, ensuring that such a disaster would never happen again. FEMA was restructured, with new disaster response strategies implemented to prevent future failures. Evacuation plans were redesigned, and cities across the U.S. reassessed their disaster preparedness in the wake of Katrina's failures. Yet, despite the improvements, the scars remain. Many areas of New Orleans have never fully recovered, and debates over environmental policy, urban planning, and social justice continue to this day.
Hurricane Katrina was more than just a natural disaster. It was a humanitarian catastrophe, a government failure, and a moment that forever changed how America viewed disaster response. It left behind not just physical devastation, but also a painful reminder of inequality, vulnerability, and the need for preparedness in an era of increasingly extreme weather. The name Katrina was permanently retired from the list of hurricane names, a mark of the storm's deadly legacy. But for those who lived through it, the memories remain vivid. The floodwaters, the suffering, and the fight to rebuild. New Orleans survived, but the question lingers: are we truly prepared for the next great storm?
Hurricane Katrina was not just a storm. It was a defining moment in American history. It tested the limits of resilience, exposed the failures of leadership, and left a lasting mark on the Gulf Coast. Its lessons serve as a warning, ensuring that when the waters rise again, we do not make the same mistakes.